Exactly.
Yeah. And back to the mortgage side of things, because I know you got a lot of experience and studies in mortgages and let's say what happens at that table. We put out a little bit of a book about it. I think I sent it over to you a little bit about just all the fraud that happens at the time when you're signing a mortgage. I mean, the you're supposed to get a check, right? I mean, when you're when you're endorsing that security, that note, you're supposed to actually get a check, and in most cases, that check.
Exactly. So essentially what happens, instead of you getting the check, the lawyer that does the closing actually gives that check to the man operating under the title company, and they turn you into a tenant at will, and they cash that big fat check, and you're charged a bunch of credits um, against your own credit. You really, banks cannot lend money. All they can do is take a deposit from you, and their main job is to uh, this is loose terminology. They create the security, but you've actually created the security. Their job is to add that security on their books as an asset, and then it gets held with the other institution, like the Federal Reserve, to the Treasury. That gets held as a borrower in custody. That's the actual collateral. That note. It's not the house, because if you look at the circulate, it's actually Circular 10 of the Federal Reserve. They do what they call borrower in custody. They take that note when it's cashed at the window when the bank goes for that credit, and they actually have fractional banking, so they're getting probably more than 9 times the credit, but it's at least what we're told, 9 times more. So every $100 is $1,000 to them.
Right.
And so what happens is they instantly have your money, and it's put in an account under your name, but you have someone that's acting as your power of attorney to take that check, run it to the title company. They steal your house already because you owned it before you signed. And the
Yep.
other thing is, you cannot pledge something that you don't own until you own it. So for about probably 30 seconds till you flip the other page over and sign the mortgage, you gifted them your house because you did own it. If
Yeah.
if I was buying a house from you, Adam, and then you said, well, I'm going to pledge that house, I can't pledge it until I paid you for it.
Of
But they don't
course.
let you know that.
Yeah, because
So
you've
if you
already
had the medallion
paid for it
stamp,
with the application, right? So that's
right,
the
the
security
application is the
instrument,
security.
right? That's the note. So that the note is what paid for it. Your credits are issued. The attorney slash sometimes they're notaries, or probably both in those cases, circumvent that check, and they basically steal that check. So it's so strange. It's almost like if I said to you, Scott, I want to buy a Chevy Corvette from you, right? And
Right.
and but I don't pay you the money. I pay the money to somebody else, and it never makes it to your account officially. And I'm like, but I paid it. And then I come and try to take that Corvette. It's theft, because the deal was between two parties, or at least that's the way that you and I would make it as
Right.
private individuals. But the way that they're conducting the business is just absolutely fraudulent, because they're not making anybody aware, and there's so much concealment going on of where the actual funds are actually going, how things are actually happening. And I would almost say that, if anybody took a look, and a lot of people now are taking a look at these mortgages and the mortgage fraud that's been committed, it's absolutely insane, because you have these payday loan companies, which are the same guys that go after the poorest of us, of we the people, and they give these mafia loans of, they get $100 and it turns into 1,000 that they have to pay back. There's not much difference when those guys piled up all that money. They get into the mortgage business, and they're doing the same tactics. I mean, there's fraud from the start. So
Exactly. So what I urge a lot of people to do, and everyone gets scared, is bring a banker, bring your bank manager with a medallion stamp to a closing, and ask them, put your medallion stamp on it and do the correct endorsement, do a restrictive endorsement.